Am I live? Am I live? Hey, hey, hey. Hey, financial besties. How you doing? How you been? Y'all know I'm not used to doing live, so I'm still trying to understand the StreamYard system, but I think I got it this time. We'll see. If I mess something up, then we just gonna roll with it. Whatever. Anywho, single moms. Single moms, are you with me tonight? If you're here, let me know. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay. Is my lighting okay? Um, Let me know in the comments that you're here with me live. And if you are, tell me who you are and where you're from. And if you're watching this on the replay, comment replay. But I wanted to do my first YouTube live. Well, actually, I've done a live before. That was a collab. So this is my first solo live. And I wanted to do my first solo live and dedicate it to you, single mothers. If I look to the right, it's because I'm not sure if I should be looking straight ahead or at my camera. But anyway, we'll figure that out too. But I wanted to dedicate my first solo live to you as single mothers because I've been in your shoes and I understand the challenges that you have to manage every day, especially your financial challenges. I'm with you, girl. I see Monica is with me. Thank you for responding in the comments to let me know you are here. Hey, Monica. Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, Venus. Hey, girl. Hey. Thank you so much for the compliment. Thank you. Hey. If you are new to me, my name is Malika, and I'm passionate about helping women, especially Black women, and especially single moms with their money because I became a single mother at the age of 17. And I was on welfare for almost 10 years, between 8 and 10 years. Um, if you haven't seen the other live that I did where I shared my story, I had an experience with a social worker during an annual recertification appointment that was very humiliating. It made me so angry that it ultimately changed the financial trajectory of my life. After this live is done, I will link that other video in the description box. See, Monica, look straight ahead. Okay, I'm gonna look straight ahead. I got you. Thank you, sis. Thank you for looking out. Um, but since that humiliating experience that changed my life, I have achieved financial freedom for myself. I did it by investing in the stock market and I retired last year. So now I slow travel the world. In fact, I am in London right now. And because I love you guys so much and I try to maintain everything on the East Coast for you, it's actually midnight here in London. But I love you. So I'm here. I'm here for you. But I slow travel the world now. And my mission in life is to experience joy. That's it, to experience joy. And part of my joy is doing my hard work as a financial coach. And I created my company, Fabulous Financials, where I help you all invest with ease so that you can achieve financial freedom and live whatever you love. Now, I am not one of those types of people that say, if I can do it, you can do it too. No, that's not me because I acknowledge that we all have different strengths and advantages that may not be equal. So I like to share my financial experiences, my lessons learned, and I'm very transparent about my financial struggles and my financial mistakes too, because I want to help you apply them in a way that makes sense to you in your life. You don't have to do it exactly the way I did it, but I share so that hopefully you will pick up some things that you can apply to your life so you too can achieve financial freedom and live whatever you love. Is that good? Is that good? Is that okay with you? Black women build wealth. Hey, girl, hey. So if this is of interest to you, please, if you aren't already, subscribe to my channel and tap that notification bell while you're down there so you'll be notified when I go live again and every time I upload a new video. So let's talk about money, ladies. Let's talk about money. Let me know in the comments what has been your biggest financial challenge as a single mom. What has been your biggest financial challenge as a single mom? And the reason why I'm asking that question to start is because as women, as Black women, it's very difficult for us to thrive in a financial system that was fundamentally designed to see us fail. So, to add on top of that, as single mothers, how do we overcome those obstacles that were designed by that system? And those obstacles create a domino of odds that are stacked against us. How do we do that? How do we do that? Monica says she was a single mom of 3 girls. Let me see if I can share comments. I think I remember how to do that. Yeah. Hey, Monica. I was a single mom of 3 girls from part of my 30s until the girls graduated. These daughters are now women with careers. Wish I had what you offer. Congratulations to you, Mom. Congratulations to you. You got all 3 of your baby girls through school and have careers of their own. Claim that. Claim that as your win. You did that. You did that. And Monica said, your biggest challenge is saving money. We're going to talk about saving money tonight. Absolutely. And Venus, you said, your biggest challenge is having enough money to live a decent lifestyle and financial literacy. Well, girl, I got you on the financial literacy. That's what we're here for. I got you. But what do you mean when you say a decent lifestyle? What is decent to you? You know, because that's different for everyone. But tonight, I'm going to share some of the things that I learned on my financial journey from welfare to wealth. And I am going to give you 5 single mom money tips that you can use to start building wealth too. Because single moms, we can do this too. Yes. Yes, yes. Does anyone else have a financial challenge that they want to share tonight so I can consider that when I'm sharing these 5 tips? Okay, Lydia. Hey, Lydia. Hey, girl. Hey. By the way, thank y'all for joining me tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you for being here. So, Lydia says, the more money I try and make, e.g., a second job, it seems like some unexpected financial cost comes up and sets me back. It gets discouraging. Yep. Yep. I understand that. It's like we take 1 step forward and then 2 steps back. We make a little money, we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. I get it. I get it. We're going to talk about that tonight. And Venus says, being able to not have to choose between which bill can be paid on time. Woo, girl. You took me back. You took me back. I remember what that was like, having to choose which bill you're going to pay on time. Yeah, I get it, sis. I get it. This is a perfect segue into my very first tip. Ladies, we need to maximize our income. And this is my first tip. I know when most people talk about their finances, they say manage your expenses, reduce your expenses. That's common. But the very, very first tip is to maximize your income because it's only so much you can manage. And when you're reducing expenses, it's only so low you can go. And I don't care where you come from, what your background is. I don't care if you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you're on welfare. I don't think anybody should have to live so low where they eating rice and beans for dinner, and that's it. I don't think anybody should cut out all of the comforts in life just because you're having some financial challenges. So before I say reduce your expenses, the very, very first thing I'm going to suggest is maximize your income. And I'll share what I mean by that. It is not, before I say what I mean by that, I'll tell you what it's not. It is not doing random side hustles. It is not doing random side hustles. And I say that because you're already busy. You're already busy. You got babies to take care of. You got little humans to nurture. And you can't be at work all day long, all night long, and leaving your babies in the hands of someone else. So I get it. Your mom first. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. So the random side hustles like DoorDash and Uber and all that kind of stuff, they exist, especially if you're in a pinch. You do what you got to do. I get it. But it's not something that I recommend because you're already spread too thin. You're already spread too thin. I didn't do random side hustles. What I did do was these things I want to share with you now. First and foremost, sis, get your child support. Get your child support. That is money that you are entitled to because that child, your children, your babies deserve to maintain a standard of living as if both of the parents were together. And all of the burden should not fall on you. So if you have a co-parent who is active in his child's life, that's wonderful. And he's taking care of the child without you having to ask for anything, that's wonderful. That is the ideal arrangement. That's perfect. But if your co-parent is not actively involved in that child's life and is not voluntarily helping you financially take care of that child, get a child support order. I've heard so many women say, oh, I don't want to be bothered. Or, oh, I don't want to have to go through the system. Oh, I don't want to have to deal with that. It's not for you. It's for your babies. Make that sacrifice and get that child support order. And if you do have a child support order and you're not getting child support, follow up with the courts. Follow up with your child support agent, your child support enforcement agent, and get that money that your child is entitled to, because that will help to alleviate some of the financial burden that you're dealing with. So if you are not getting child support or voluntarily receiving help from the co-parent, get your child support order. It's not about you. It's about your babies. So please, please make that a priority. Venus said, child support enforcement is shady at best. The courts judge a Black woman harshly. You know what I say to that? Let them judge. Let them judge. Your child needs to be cared for. Your child needs that extra money. Let them judge. You do what you got to do for your babies. Monica's, you're surprised that I said no side hustles? Yes, mom first. Yes, ladies, get that child support. They're his kids too. Absolutely. What I mean when I say no side hustles, I mean the random side hustles, like random things that you do just to make an extra $5, extra $10. When you're doing all the things just to make random money, you spread yourself too thin and it takes away the time, the quality time that you're spending with your babies. Now, I'm also going to share how you can maximize your income in more effective ways. Okay. All right. So first things first, ladies, get your child support. Get your child support. Now, in terms of your career, so your child support and now your career. In terms of your career, what is your primary skill set? What is it that you're good at? What is it that you're known for in your career field? Double down on that. So before you go to get a second job, before you go to start working a side hustle, focus on what your skills are within your career field and double down on that. Maximize your income within the job you already have. And here's one thing that I did before I retired. I never worked a second job, but I maximized my income by job hopping. I know that's frowned upon. I know people say, oh, you don't stay in one place long enough. These jobs ain't loyal, so why should I be? Every time I applied for a new job, I also received more money. When you stay at one job too long, and I consider anything more than 5 years too long, that's way too long. I think on average, the most I stayed at one job was 3 years. And I stayed at that job long enough to develop a new skill set and to network. And once I received what I came for, it was time for me to move on. And every time I moved on, I got a raise or a promotion with even extra money. Because those little raises that you're getting at your job, those cost of living raises, those cost of living adjustments at 2%, 3%, if you're lucky, you got a great employer, maybe 4%. But that's the best you're going to get by being loyal. You deserve more. Job hop, sis. Build your skills, build your network, and move on. Now, that does take some effort because you got to revise your resume, you got to prepare for the interviews, you got to network and all that stuff. It does take effort, but it's worth the effort if you're able to increase your income by 10% versus begging your current employer to give you a 2% raise. Job hop, sis. If you've been at your job longer than 5 years, it's time to go. It's time to go. As you build your skills and you become more marketable, those employers are going to be looking for you and they will want to pay you for what you can do for them. Get that money. Build your skills and get the money. Double down on the skills that you already have, the skills that you're already good at, and increase your income by getting more money from the job, the career that you already have. So you're still just working your one job and you still have time to take care of your babies. You're not spreading yourself too thin, but you're making more money. Leave that job, girl. Find you another job. Make more money. Get that money. The last tip I have about maximizing your income, if you choose to work a second job, because I understand sometimes that's necessary. Not sure what career fields you all are in, but sometimes a second job is needed in order to make ends meet. I get it. I still would not suggest random side hustles. What I would suggest, if you have to work a second job or create that second source of income in an active way, because there are passive ways. We're going to get into that too tonight. But if you have to spend time actively working for that second source of income, I ask you, what are you naturally gifted at? What do you do better than most people? Do you bake cakes and pies? Are you a great cook? You can whip up a Sunday type of meal like grandma used to? Are you good at designing websites? What do you do with ease? What do you do that doesn't require a lot of effort or a lot of mental or physical exhaustion? What is your heart pulling at you to do? So my point is, if you need to actively work a second job to create another stream of income, be mindful about how you choose to do that. Consider what your natural gifts are. Consider what you do with ease, because you don't want a job that's going to make you so exhausted where you don't have time to spend with your babies. You don't want another job that's going to make you so exhausted where when you do get around your babies, you're short tempered, you're tired, you don't have time to listen to baby girl talk your head off. You know them children can talk. And mama been at work all day, so when you get home, they want to tell you everything, but you're so tired you can't listen. So if you have to work that second job, think about what you're naturally gifted at. Think about what you do with ease, that you do better than most people, and pursue that. Find a way to monetize that thing. That makes sense? Is there anything that you're naturally gifted at that you do with ease that can be monetized? Oh, Monica made a good comment here about doubling down on your skills within your career field. She said she was a teacher and a counselor for 25 years. Congratulations. During that time, I taught an evening class at school and sponsored clubs, which worked into my day. More extra pay per month. And she doubled down. She doubled down on something that she was already doing, that was already within her career field, and she doubled down on skills that she already had. It wasn't a random side hustle that spread her thin. She doubled down on skills that she already had. Thank you, Monica. Thank you. Thank you. That was a good example. It's a great example. So are there any questions about tip number 1? Maximize your income. Sis, we got bills. These babies expensive. We need money. And you can only cut back on your expenses so much. Very first thing is to maximize income. Get your child support. Double down on the skills you have within your current career field. And if you need to work a second job, think about what you are naturally gifted at, what you do with ease, what your heart is pulling at you to do, and find ways to monetize that. So it's something you enjoy, something that doesn't exhaust you. Okay? The second tip I have for you is to manage your expenses. But as you will learn, the more you watch me, you will learn that I have a whole lot of unpopular opinions, and I have a whole lot of ways of doing things that's not the common way, like the job hopping, like the working the second, third job. I didn't do any of those things. And in terms of managing expenses, most people will probably say, oh, you need to pack your lunch and take it to work. Oh, you cut out your Starbucks. You go to Starbucks too much, or you dine out too much. All those things. Guess what? If you cut out Starbucks, yeah, Starbucks is expensive. Let's be real. Starbucks costs about what, $5, $6 just for a small cup. But if you cut out Starbucks, you're saving $6. That ain't nothing. If you pack your lunch for work, I mean, if that's something you enjoy doing because you don't eat out, you prefer to pack the dinner you cooked from the night before, that's wonderful. Don't change that. But I'm talking to you if you don't like to do those things and you think that's what you have to do to manage expenses. I didn't do any of that. What I mean when I say manage expenses, I mean manage the big expenses. The big expenses that's going to give you a big return for your efforts. So we have 3 major expenses, all of us. Before I even say them, tell me in the comments, what are your biggest expenses that you have every month? What are your biggest expenses that you have every month? Most of us have 3 major expenses. Those are the expenses that I want us to focus on. Those are the expenses we're going to talk about tonight. And the reason why I focus on the heavy hitters and not the little ones and twosies, Starbucks and brown bagging your lunch and all that kind of stuff is because saving $10 You ain't even gonna notice that. You just gonna feel deprived because you want your Starbucks. You're gonna feel deprived because you want to go to lunch with your sister friends and you can't because you packed this ham and cheese sandwich. You just gonna feel deprived. You ain't gonna feel the benefits of that. Yep. So Malaysia said housing. Yes, that is one of our biggest expenses. Yes, that is one of our biggest expenses. Venus said housing. Yep, housing was listed first. Utilities and groceries. Yes, yes. And I consider utilities part of housing. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Get this off the screen. Yes. So, our three biggest expenses are housing, just like you said, food, and the third. Yep, Monica got it. Okay. Rent, mortgage, groceries, and transportation. Yes, housing, food, and transportation. So if you are going to manage your expenses, focus on the heavy hitters because saving $6 here, $10 there, that's going to take a whole lot of effort. And that's going to be like trying to climb up a mountain before you really see or feel the benefits of that. But if you focus on these heavy hitters, these big expenses, your housing, your food, and your transportation, any change that you make, any small change that you make, you're going to feel that immediately because it's your biggest expense, right? So, some of the things that I did on my financial journey to manage these three major expenses. I'll start with the second one first: food. I'm not sure if you remember in my intro, I mentioned that I was on welfare for almost 10 years. I have no regrets and I have no shame. I share that. I'm transparent about that because it's part of my story, it's part of my journey. I share that just as easily with comfort as I do saying I'm financially free now because that's also part of my story. So, in terms of food, if you are struggling to make ends meet, if you have babies and you're doing the best you can, you're maximizing your income already, and you just don't have it, sis, don't be ashamed to get assistance. Don't be ashamed to get assistance. I was talking to someone a while back and we were talking about our financial journey and our early years of becoming a mom. And the person said to me, yeah, and I never got food stamps. I never got any type of welfare. I didn't need that. Both of our children are adults now and she's still struggling. If you need it, it's okay to say you need it and it's okay to get it. The system is there for a reason. I'm not suggesting that you be a lifelong welfare recipient. I'm not suggesting that you get help and you stay in the system, but the system is there for you to leverage so that you can have some breathing room and then continue to advance your life so one day you won't need it. When I got off of welfare, it was with a strategy so that when I was done, I would never need it again, ever. I didn't get off welfare just to make an extra dollar or two more. And then a year later, I needed to get back on it. I wasn't a serial welfare recipient where I had to keep going back and forth for life. But I used the system for what it's intended for, to give me leverage, to give me that breathing room so that I could improve my life. And once I was able to improve my life, I never looked back. I never needed it again. but I used it. I sure did. And I have no shame and I have no regrets because the assistance did what the assistance was supposed to do. And if you need it, get it. Get it. If you qualify for it, get it. Now, the other major expense, housing. One of the ways that I reduce my housing expenses is because initially I lived in a home that was in a central location. And when it comes to real estate, it's all about location, location, location. So if you live near the city, if you live near a major metro system, a major bus line, if you live in an ideal area close to a major mall, you're going to be paying for that. You're going to be paying for that. And then I had this big old townhouse that was 3 stories. Ain't nobody live in it but me and my daughter. I ain't got but one child. Why I need this big old 3-story townhouse for with all these bedrooms, all these bathrooms? What'd I do that for? So I had a huge housing expense every month because of where I chose to live and the type of house that I chose to live in. And one of the ways that I significantly reduced my housing expenses was to evaluate how much space do I actually need? While it's comfortable to have all the extra bedrooms for the visitor you may have one day, it may be comfortable to have all these closets and all this extra space for the storage of things that you may or may not use every month. Let's be honest. Evaluate how much space you actually need. And after I did that, I decided that I wanted to downsize. I saved at least $500 a month by downsizing my housing. That was just enough space that I needed. Now, it did require me to downsize my belongings. So I had to purge some things, but only things I didn't use anyway. I didn't get rid of anything I needed or anything I loved. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I had to do an assessment of my life. I had to think about how much space do I need? I had to think about this thing that I own that I haven't used in the past 2 years, and I got it stored in this garage. Do I really need this type of thing? So I had to do that type of assessment with my things because reducing my expenses was important to me. And by reducing my housing expenses, saving $500 a month, and I say 500 because it was at least 500. It was probably more, but I haven't pulled the my financial records to get an exact number, but it was at least $500 a month. To me, that was worth the effort because saving $500 a month, you're going to immediately feel the difference of that. So while I was maximizing my income and managing my expenses, I was creating this gap for us. I was creating this gap. And I had to make some of those difficult decisions in order to do so. Because saving $5, $6 at Starbucks just wasn't cutting it for what I wanted to do. Brown bagging my lunch and sacrificing my social activity just wasn't cutting it for me. It wasn't enough. But if you're able to save a huge chunk by just making one decision, even if it's a difficult decision, that's worth the effort because you're going to realize the benefit of it almost immediately. Check the comments to see what you guys are saying. I hope y'all not dragging me for these suggestions, but it's what I did. It's what I did. So, yeah. All right. Monica said, I got assistance for about a year after the divorce that helped me finish the education from university. And yes, I needed it. Uh-huh. And you continued public assistance for a year while completing your teaching certificate. Yeah. And you also said you had to leave your joint owned house and went down to a 2-bedroom apartment, not in a middle class area. Yeah, I want to leave this up here. Yes. Sometimes we have to make those decisions too. Sometimes it's okay to say, I bought this house and I can't afford it. It's okay to move back to an apartment. We can't let pride keep us on the struggle bus. Just like I said, if you need assistance, get the assistance. Don't let pride keep you struggling. If you have to downgrade from a home to an apartment, that's okay. You do what you got to do that's best for you and your children. Don't care what other people think. Once you get your finances together, you can always buy another house. No decision is permanent. You're not a failure. You're just reevaluating some decisions that you made, and you're making different decisions. And in the future, you can buy a house again if you want to. It's okay. And to Monica's last point, when she moved, she said she didn't move. It wasn't in a middle class area. That reminds me about the move that I made. So remember, I said I was living close to the city, close to the metro, easy access to everything. When I moved, I did not lower my standard of living in terms of safety, in terms of amenities, in terms of the aesthetics of the neighborhood. But I did move so far outside of the city where it wasn't as easy to access the city. There were no metros, there were no buses. Were there? Yes, there were. There were buses, but I was outside of the metro limits. So I lived in the suburbs. But the further you moved outside the city, the lower the cost of living. So that was a compromise I was willing to make. Right? And Monica made a similar compromise. How much did you save, Monica, as a result of that move? Yes. Pride will kill you. Pride will kill you. This ain't about what other people think. If they're not paying your bills, they're not taking care of your children, who cares what they think? You need to make these decisions to give yourself some breathing room so that you can improve your finances for you, first and foremost, and then your children. Right? So whoever ain't helping you take care of them babies, their opinion don't matter. Their opinion don't matter. And Kiki said she's anal about her light bill. What do you mean by that, Kiki? You anal about your light bill? Ooh, Monica says ask Monica how much did she save with that move? Girl, yes, yes. Monica saved $600 a month. That's what I'm talking about. Focus on the heavy hitters, not the little nickel and dime $5, $6 latte. Mm-mm. Focus on the heavy hitters to create an immediate benefit to make your efforts worth it. And remember, no decision is permanent. So it does not have to be for life. So let's say you compromise where you live and you have to move outside of the city, or you compromise where you live and you have to downgrade from your home to your apartment. You can decide, I'm only going to do this for a year, or I'm only going to do this for 2 years, so that you could save $500 a month like I did, or $600 a month like Monica did. Let's say you did that for 1 year. Can't do mental math, so I'm pulling up the calculator on my phone. Let's say you did it for 1 year. Monica saved $600 a month. That's $7,200 a year. Who can't use $7,000? If you can't use $7,000, let me know in the comments because we need to talk. Who can't use $7,000? So if you have to make those compromises, it doesn't have to be permanent. It can be a short-term compromise, just so you can stop taking those 2 steps back. You can take 1 step forward, then the next time 2 steps forward, then 3 steps forward, and you might be able to leap with a $7,000 a year savings. So make the temporary sacrifice for your long-term benefits. Okay? And that last heavy hitter, your transportation. What kind of car do you drive? Monica said later in life, she went back up in housing and she bought a 3-bedroom home. Yes. And as for me, later on in life, I retired. I no longer have to work. And right now, I'm in London. So those short-term sacrifices can set you up for life. But that third heavy hitter expense that I want you to consider is your transportation. So what kind of car do you drive? When I had a car, I don't have a car right now because I travel full time. So even when I'm back in the States, I don't need a car. I sold my car before I left last year. I sold it to one of my nearest and dearest friends. So I know that my baby, I used to call her Black Beauty, is in good hands. But when I did have a car, I drove a Honda Accord. I drove a Honda Accord for almost 20 years. I bought a quality car, brand new. I'm also not one of those people that say buy a used car, only buy a used car, and you get a used car and the thing breaking down on you 6 months later. I'm not one of those people. I bought a brand new car with all the bells and whistles, but I kept the same car for almost 20 years. I maintained the car. I did all the maintenance based on the manufacturer's book. Even if nothing was wrong, I still did annual maintenance on the car. And she never in 20 years, well, you know what? I'm about to tell a lie. I'm about to say never in 20 years broke down on me. She did once that I can remember. And even that one time, it was not an expensive repair because I maintained her. Like the book, the owner's manual suggested. So I bought the best that I wanted, that I could afford. I bought good quality, and I took care of that quality for 20 years. I had a car payment for 3 of those 20 years. When I paid her off, those last 15 plus years, I had no car payment. I had no car payment. So I asked you, what type of car do you drive? If you have a big old gas guzzler, unless you got a basketball team that you got to drive around, why you got that big old car, sis? Why you got that big old truck? So the same way you evaluate your housing and ask yourself, do you really need this much housing? Ask yourself, do I really, really need this big car, or do I really need this expensive car? Right? I think on average nowadays, car payments are $400 a month. That's a lot for a car payment. Jeez. What kind of car y'all drive? Let me see. Monica said she drove a Honda. New. She bought it new and drove it forever. Girl, Hondas are good cars, right? If I ever buy another car, it will be another Honda. When I sold that Honda, I didn't have that many miles on it. It was less than 150,000 miles on it. If my friend is watching, correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments. Definitely less than 200,000 miles on it. And she's in good condition. And when my friend bought that car, she was like, girl, we're probably going to do another 100,000 miles on this car because she was in good condition. So Hondas, I ride for Honda. And when they start making electric cars and compete with Tesla, that's the car I will get. Malaysia says she drives a Honda. Yes, girl. Hondas are good. I rock for Honda. Eleanor says she drives a 2010 Chevy Equinox. She bought it new with cash. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. Some of these questions are not related to what we're talking about right now. So I'm going to star them and come back to them later. So I see you. I see you, sis. Keep the questions coming. But I'm going to stay on topic for now, but I will star them and come back to them later. Oh, Kiki answered my question about the utilities. She said she's strict about her utilities. She closed the vents in the rooms that she doesn't use, and she turned off the central air and start using a window unit in the summer. Okay. Cool beans. A tip that I have for you in terms of your utilities, there is a method that most utility companies offer called budget billing. And what they do is, as long as you have at least a year of activity, they look back at your past year of activity and they calculate an average. And what they will do is they will bill you that average for the next year. And that's one way that you can fix your utility expenses so that you know exactly how much you're paying every month. Now, you got to be careful with budget billing though, because when the year is up, that they bill you the fixed amount every month. And that's just beneficial, just so your bill is not fluctuating a whole lot in the wintertime. And then in the summertime, you're paying the same amount every month. But at the end of that year, when you're on the budget billing program, they will reevaluate your usage again. Now, if you use less than what they billed you, they will refund you the difference. But if you use more than what they billed you, they will bill you the difference at the end of the year. So budget billing is something that a lot of my clients use so that they can get a handle on their finances and know exactly how much money is going out every month. I know utility companies, electric companies do budget billing. Some water companies may do budget billing, and I haven't heard of gas companies doing it, but I know electric companies do it and some water companies do it. So if that is something that you need so that you can manage your monthly expenses a little better, consider budget billing in terms of your utility expenses. So I see some more Honda drivers. Yes. Greta says she drives a 2009 Honda Accord. She bought used and she's still driving it. I know that's right. Mine was a 2004. I just sold her last year. I love my Honda. Okay, Simone has a Toyota Corolla 2016 and still going strong. Yes. And Greta also said that she downsized. See, y'all know. I ain't telling y'all nothing new. Y'all know she downsized to a studio apartment a few years ago. He is included in the rent and she just pays electric. How much did you save, Greta, when you downsized and you made that move? Let me know. How much did you save? And Monica said, budget billing is great. Yeah, budget billing is amazing because you know exactly how much you're spending every month. There are no surprises. No surprises. All right. Any other questions about that tip number 2, managing your expenses? Just to summarize that tip, you are focusing on the heavy hitters: housing, food, and transportation. Manage your expenses by focusing on the heavy hitters. And if you need to apply any effort to reduce your expenses, focus on those three areas so that you feel immediate benefit to make it worth the effort. If you are a brown bagger, don't stop. If that's what you like to do, don't stop. If you don't go to Starbucks, that's great. Don't waste your money, sis. I think they put crack in those drinks anyway. I used to be so addicted. I've been delivered, thank God. But if you do all those things to save a little money here and there and you enjoy doing it, that's okay. These tips are for people who do not enjoy doing it or feel deprived when they do those things to save a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. Make the temporary compromise. And I say compromise instead of sacrifice because you're compromising short term so that you can have a larger benefit. And then you can always add it back later once you get to where you want to be financially, right? Cool. Greta said she saved $200 a month. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's $2,400 a year. $2,400 a year. You ain't saving $2,400 a year by brown bagging. You ain't saving $2,400 a year by stopping Starbucks. Well, you know what? You might. Depends on what you order from Starbucks. But focus on the heavy hitters. Focus on the heavy hitters. Oh, Greta said she saved $400 once you factor in the utilities. Oh, because her utilities are included with the rent. $400. But y'all know I don't know mental math. What's that? $4,800 a year? Use my calculator again. Yes, I'm a financial coach and I can't do math. Judge me. $4,800 a year. Focus on the heavy hitters, ladies. Don't do the nickel and diamond stuff. We ain't got time for that. Focus on what's going to give you an immediate return. Deprivation ain't good. Deprivation ain't never good. And yes, I said a double negative on purpose. Deprivation ain't never good. Because when you feel deprived, when you finally start spending money or when you finally start doing the thing that you always wanted to do, you overcompensate because you were deprived of it for so long. So it ends up becoming a wash and you put yourself through all that pain for nothing. Deprivation is never good. Right? So is this helpful to you at all? Are these tips helpful? If so, hit that like button, smash that like button for me, and share this video with other single moms who need this information. So let's move on to tip number 3. Got some more unpopular opinions, y'all. Y'all ready? Y'all hit that like button. I ain't gonna share no more tips until y'all hit that like button. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Tip number 3. Look, I said number 3. Number 3. Manage your current debt and avoid high interest debt. Manage your current debt and avoid high interest debt. My unpopular opinion, and when I say high interest debt, I'm really talking about credit cards. My unpopular opinion that goes against everything that we've always been told about credit cards. What's something that you've been told about credit cards? I'll share what I was told about credit cards. When I was first introduced to credit cards, I was told that credit cards are for emergencies. I was told that credit cards are for emergencies. No, they ain't. Yep, I used a double negative again. No, they ain't. Credit cards are not for emergencies. This is a message that was planted by capitalism. And by making you think they're for emergencies, that will lead you to not save anything for emergencies because you think you have a credit card. Oh, I can put it on my credit card. And with that mindset, all it does is it keeps you in the debt cycle. And that's what the capitalist system wants you to do. That's what the capitalist system needs you to do. It needs you to be in the debt cycle so that you can continue running on the hamster wheel, so you can continue working, so you can work the second job and the side hustle and do all the things, because now you have all this debt that you need to pay off. You got all these bills coming in the mail, all these creditors calling you. Credit cards are not for emergencies. If you use a credit card for an emergency, it provides temporary relief, but it will make you dig a deeper hole and make things worse in the future. That's my opinion. I do not agree that credit cards are for emergencies. And the reason why I say they're not, let's say you have an emergency, you get a flat tire, and you don't have any money in savings, but I got a credit card. And the system taught us credit cards are for emergencies. And you put it on a credit card because you don't have any savings, you don't have any money. Well, if you don't have any money now to pay for those tires, and you put it on a credit card because they told us they're for emergencies, how will you have the money later plus 22% interest? If you don't have the money now, how are you going to have it later plus the 22% interest? Because that's the average interest rate on credit cards. There are some that are way more. There are some that are 28%. Some are over 30%. They're absolutely ridiculous. I hate credit cards that charge rates that high. I don't hate credit cards. I'm not saying that. But I hate the credit card companies, what I call bottom feeders, that charge those ridiculous rates. But on average, credit card rates are about 20 to 22%. So if you don't have the money now, how are you going to have the money later plus more? And let's say those tires cost you, let's stick with the tire example. Let's say a set of tires cost you $600. If you don't have $600 now, 22% of 600 is $132. Where are you going to get $732 later? If you're already struggling to make ends meet, credit cards are not for emergencies. Here's the truth. Credit cards are for people that don't really need money. Now, I am not sharing this because I hate credit cards. I would be lying if I said that. So I don't want to imply that I hate credit cards. I use credit cards. I use credit cards almost every day. I pay the balance in full every month. Credit cards are for people who don't really need the money, but they use them for convenience and rewards. So if you were able to use your credit cards for convenience and rewards and pay the balance in full every month, then do your thing, sis. But I don't want you to think or continue thinking, if you've been told this before, like I was. I don't want you to think that credit cards are for emergencies. They're not. They just introduce you to the debt cycle that the capitalism society wants you to be in, so that you have to start running on the hamster wheel, trying to play catch up. All right. Monica said, no one taught me what you were sharing back then. I just followed what I thought was right, and I was not popular with close folks. Mm-hmm. Monica said she was told that too. Credit cards got me in trouble, and it has been a long time getting out. Absolutely. And I share this because They got me in trouble too. I got my first credit card when I was in college, no less. I'm a single mom and I'm in college. I'm broke. Why are you gonna give me a credit card? My first credit card had a limit of, I want to say $500. And because I was told credit cards are for emergencies, I had lots of emergencies. That $500 was maxed out, I'm sure, in less than a year. I ain't got no money. All I had was emergencies, or what I considered emergencies. So where did that benefit me at all? Nowhere. It benefited the capitalist society because then it stressed me out. Then I had to figure out how to rob Peter to pay Paul, or how to work more hours just so I can pay off this credit card balance. No, I made the same mistake, Monica. Don't feel bad. Don't feel ashamed. It's because we believe what the system tells us. And the system is only telling us the things that benefit the system, not what benefits you. Credit cards are not for emergencies. Just that Malaysia said they also normalize keeping a credit card balance. Yes, they do. That's why you get that bill in the mail, and that the amount due is your minimum amount due. And they highlight that on purpose because they want you to pay the minimum. Your balance could be $10,000, and the minimum due will be like 2% of that. They want you to only pay that minimum. Want to know why? You know why. So your balance can compound interest and continue to grow. So if you're paying $1,000 on that card every month, that balance ain't going down by $1,000. I guarantee you that. Because interest is going to be applied to the entire balance, and they're going to compound it on top of last month's balance. So your balance next month is not going to be a difference of what you paid. So yes, they normalize carrying the balance. Got to pay that balance off in full. Got to pay that balance off in full. Greta said, today I contacted Amex to get on their financial hardship plan. I suspended my card. My interest rate was reduced to 9.99% fixed rate, and I will have the card paid off in 4 years or less. Yes. Yes, Greta. Congratulations to you. Pay that card off and don't give them any more of your hard-earned money. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Don't do it. Another thing I would suggest avoiding, and it's because I did it. I did it. And I got screwed because of it. Avoid the buy now, pay later places. You get into your apartment, you need some furniture, you go to the little buy now, pay later furniture store. You need a washer and dryer. So you go to the little store you buy it now, you pay for it later. Girl, those monthly payments and the interest that they apply, by the time you pay later and pay that thing off, you done bought the item about 2 or 3 times. Stay away from the buy now, pay later places. The rent to own places. I never did a rent to own, like Rent a Center and stuff like that. I never did that, but I certainly did the buy now, pay later. Another thing I did that turned my finances upside down: the check cashing and the title loan companies. Those are also what I call bottom feeders. They're like the scum of the bottom of the credit industry. I know that times are hard as single parents. It's a struggle, and we want relief. I get it. I was there. Those check cashing places, those title loan places, they don't help you at all. They don't help you at all. It causes more harm than good. In a pinch, In a worst case scenario, I'm sitting here telling you all the things to not do, all the things to avoid. So, what can you do? What can you do in that situation where you do need a little extra money? You do need some financial relief. I would say, in the worst case scenario, get a personal loan from a credit union. Get a personal loan from a credit union. If you do not have a relationship with the credit union, start one as soon as you can. Credit unions have better loan rates, and credit unions are also more generous with the loans and with the terms of their loans because the credit unions work for their members. The credit unions work for their members. So join a credit union. Now, this video isn't sponsored and banks ain't paying me yet. So I won't mention any bank specifically, but I would strongly suggest you build a relationship with a credit union if you haven't already, because credit unions tend to have better loan rates and they're more generous and favorable with their terms. When I bought my Honda Accord, I got the loan through the credit union. In fact, the credit union sent me a blank check. And when I negotiated the purchase with the car dealer, it was a cash purchase with the car dealer. And I just had a loan with the credit union. When I was able to clean up my credit and I got my first real credit card, it was through a credit union. I think back then, my credit wasn't great. It was probably in the mid to upper 600s when I started cleaning up my credit. And my first credit card with the credit union had a limit of about $5,000. It was with a credit union. And that's how I rebuilt my credit. That car loan with the credit union and the credit card with the credit union. And I still am with that credit union today. I have no loans with the credit union, but I still have that same credit card. Yes, it's one of the oldest accounts on my credit report. Now, the limit is much, much higher now, but I still have a relationship with that same credit union. And that credit union gave me a lot of financial relief. Yes, let me check the comments. Simone said, every few years, I find myself in credit card debt. I have 2 I'm paying off and a 401k loan. We need to do a separate video or a separate live. I want to talk about 401k loans. But in terms of your CC debt, that reminds me, on my website, I have a debt reduction masterclass. And it teaches you 5 debt payoff strategies, and it helps you to decide which strategy is best for you. Because there's different ways to pay off debt, and some ways that may not work for your lifestyle may make the debt payoff process difficult or stressful. There's 5 different strategies. And the masterclass explains all 5. It gives you the pros and cons of all 5, and it also helps you to decide which one is best for you. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can drop the link to that in the comments. My website is moneycoachmalika.com, and the masterclass is Slay Your Debt. Hold on. Give me a second. I will drop the link in the comments. So if you are in and out of debt, this masterclass is good for someone like you, Simone. You find yourself in and out of debt, in and out of debt. If you already have a debt payoff strategy that's working for you and you're paying it off and you're already on a repayment plan, that's wonderful. You don't need this. But this is for anyone who's in debt, especially CC debt, and you're overwhelmed, you're drowning in it, and you don't know how to pay it off. You don't have a strategy yet. You don't have a debt payoff plan, or you get out of debt and you find yourself right back in it. That is who this masterclass is for. And I presented the class to the clients in my coaching program. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably heard me refer to the sister circle. So I originally presented this to the clients in my sister circle, but I also have it now on my website. And there is the link if you are interested in the masterclass. All right. Any other comments about managing current debt and avoiding high interest debt? With cars, credit unions. Oh, okay. Monica has a credit union. What are you saying, Monica? You have 2 cars? Oh, you have 2 credit unions. You have 2 credit unions. Oh, okay. Yes. So you have a personal loan. You have a personal loan with the credit union. Yes. Yes. Establish a relationship with the credit unions, ladies. Establish a relationship with the credit unions. Some of these big banks out here, the more popular banks, and again, I'm not saying any of their names, they are in for profit. They're charging you all these ridiculous fees. The loan arrangements the terms and conditions of the loans are not necessarily in your favor. Credit unions take care of their members. So if you need a loan, you're rebuilding your credit, whatever financial needs that you have, establish a relationship with a credit union. Okay. All right. So the fourth tip that I have for you. So far, we've talked about maximizing your income. We've talked about managing your debt and avoiding high interest debt. And we talked about ways that you can manage your expenses. So the fourth tip, remember when I said credit cards are not for emergencies? What do you think I'm going to say is for emergencies? Now, what do you think I'm going to say is for emergencies? Because it ain't credit cards. That's what the capitalist society wants us to believe, to put you in the debt cycle. For emergencies, you need this. I'm sure you know what I'm about to say, right? Yes. Yes. We need some savings. So we're doing all the work to increase our income, to maximize our income. We're managing expenses and we're avoiding high interest debt. And I emphasize high interest debt because I realize some debt is necessary short term, but avoid the high interest debt. Credit cards are not for emergencies, but savings accounts are for emergencies. There are statistics and studies that show that most Americans cannot afford a $1,000 emergency. So they put it on a credit card, and there starts the debt cycle, the downward spiral of the debt cycle. Most Americans cannot afford a $1,000 emergency. And I share that because I want you to know that your savings goal does not have to be huge. It does not have to be overwhelming. Even if you have a savings goal, let's say you want to save $20,000 or you want to save a down payment for your house, that big goal, that's okay, but bring it down a little bit. Let's take baby steps to get to that big goal. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't stress yourself out. When you focus on a goal that's so large and it takes a long time to get there, you'll lose momentum. You'll lose motivation because you'll think, I'll never get there. It'll take too long. So let's take those goals, make them a little smaller. If you do not have a savings account, if you are currently using a credit card for emergencies, I would strongly, strongly recommend that you start a savings account and have your first savings goal to just simply be $1,000. That's it. Just simply $1,000. And yes, Venus, yes, your savings account should be a high yield savings account. And what is meant by a high yield savings account? I'm sure all of you have heard that term before. That just simply means a savings account that pays a rate of return that's higher than a normal savings account. So all those big banks that I was telling you about that give you unfavorable loan terms, when you get a savings account with them, those rates are also unfavorable. Average regular savings account can pay an interest of 0.01%, maybe 0.05%, like not even a full 1%. So a high yield savings account right now is paying at least 4%. It's paying at least 4%. You want your money saved in an account that can keep up with inflation. Inflation right now is around 3%. So putting your money in a high yield savings account is 1% higher than inflation. I've seen 4.5%, and I've even seen 5%. But you want your savings in a high yield savings account that's right now paying at least 4%. Okay. And the Federal Reserve just raised interest rates again. They raised the Fed rate. So those increases are going to trickle down to us. So high yield savings account, the rate on high yield savings accounts are going to continue going up. As long as the Fed is raising interest rates, the high yield savings account rate is going to rise eventually after the Fed raises the rate. So at least 4% is what you should be earning on your high yield savings account. And start small. Start small. Your goal does not have to be large. If you do not have $1,000 in savings, let that be your first goal. Okay? If you do not have $1,000 in savings, let that be your first goal. All right. And Simone, I see you, girl. I see you. Who do you bank with? Like I said, these banks ain't paying me yet. But no, I'll answer your question. My high yield savings account is with, because I never touch it, so I don't remember off the top of my head. I used to have an account with Ally Bank, and I also have an account with Capital One. I'm not sure which one holds the bulk of my what I consider emergency fund. I'm not sure which one, but I have accounts with both of them, Ally Bank and Capital One. The reason why I like Ally Bank is because when rates go up, they do like step increases in the rates. So you don't have to worry about chasing rates, going to this bank because they charge this much, or you get this offer in the mail, then you run over here to this bank. Ally Bank, as the rates increase, they continue to increase the rates on their high yield savings accounts. I know a lot of my clients I believe they use Capital One, between Capital One and Ally, because they also allow you to create buckets in your savings account to save for different things. You only have one account, but you can separate your money into different buckets. So that's another reason those two are pretty popular. But yes, I'm not recommending any banks, but I'm just answering Simone's question. That's where I have my savings right now. And let's see, the rate on Ally Bank, Ally is ALLY, by the way. Let's see. It's probably not the best of the best rate, but I don't chase rates. As long as it's keeping up with inflation, I'm okay with that. Let's see. Ally Bank rates. What is Ally paying? Mm-hmm. See, they have a high yield CD paying 5%. They have a no penalty CD paying 4.55%. Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time researching this, but yeah, they have pretty competitive rates. Simone says she's with Capital One. You have to open new accounts to get the new rate. Oh, okay. I know with Ally, you don't. You don't have to open new accounts. They have like this bump up system where you automatically get the better rate as rates increase. Let's see. Um, and if you want to do a little research to find out the other banks that offer high yield savings accounts, because again, I'm not recommending a bank. I was just answering that question. Two resources that you can use is bankrate.com and nerdwallet.com. Those two websites always do like a monthly update of the best high yield savings accounts that exist. So Bankrate and NerdWallet. Those are two resources you can use to do your research. And a few more tips on high yield savings account. I would recommend that you have a high yield savings account at a bank where you do not have your checking account, because you don't want to intermingle the funds and you don't want it to be too easy to switch your savings over to your checking. What comedian was that? I got a savings and I got a checking and I got to move the savings to the checking. Y'all remember that? Who was that? Who was the comedian that said that? But anyway, you don't want your savings account, especially if it's a savings account for your emergency fund. You don't want that at the same bank where you have your checking account, because you don't want to have that temptation of moving money over for non-essential purposes. Kevin Hart. Yes, Kevin Hart. Yes, that was so funny to me. Aurora says she opened an account with Wealthfront. The starting rate was 4.55 and it went to 4.8 last week. Yeah, yeah. I can't vouch for Wealthfront. I've never used them, but okay. So Aurora has had good experiences with them, I assume, so far. Yeah. And Simone said that's her problem with Capital One. So I guess Capital One makes you open a new account in order to get the higher rate. Yeah. And that is one of the advantages of Ally Bank. So, yeah, good to know. Thank you, ladies. Another tip for your savings account: automate it. Automate your savings account. And the reason why I suggest you automate your account is because you want to remove the need to make decisions. When you get paid, if it's automated, if you decide to save $100 a pay period, it will automatically go over there to your savings account. But if you have to make the decision to sit down and manually make the transfer, it'll be so easy for you to say, I'll do it later. And you never do it because you're busy. Or it'll be easy for you to say, I'm going to skip this week because I want to go do this other thing over here. Remove all of that temptation. Automate your savings so that it automatically goes to your savings account. So you can build up that emergency fund so you don't have to use credit cards for emergencies like they lied to us and said. We don't want to be part of that debt cycle anymore. We don't want to be part of that debt cycle anymore. We're going to get out of that. So let's build those savings accounts up. Automate your contribution, no matter how much you're putting in there. $50 a pay period. I don't care if it's $20 a pay period. Automate that $20. That way you're consistently putting money into that savings account. Okay? And once you get that $1,000 in your savings account to start, then build up to 3 months of your living expenses. Not 3 months of your salary, but 3 months of your living expenses. And then once you get 3 months, then target 6 months. And then 6 months is more than enough for an emergency fund. And the reason why 6 months is the most popular target that you hear is because, let's say you lost your job, or you had a medical emergency. 6 months is about, on average, the approximate time that it takes a person to find a new job with a comparable salary. So you have the reserves and savings to be able to live without impacting your quality of life, especially impacting your children while you're dealing with this unfortunate event. So that's why 6 months is typically the goal. But start small, $1,000 first, so that you can avoid using the credit cards, then build up to 3 months, and then build up to 6 months. And when you automate it, it makes it easier for your money to compound because you remove temptation and you remove any decisions that you have to make. Okay? Is this information helpful to you? Let me know. Let me know. And you can let me know by smashing that like button. How about that? When you hit like on videos that you enjoy, it lets the algorithm know that it's a good video, and then YouTube will push it out and share it with more people. So if you picking up what I'm putting down and you like this information and it's helpful to you, hit like so that the algorithm know that you like it. All right? Thank you, thank you, thank you, ladies. Appreciate y'all. And the last one, number 5. We're on number 5 already. The last tip I have for you is to invest. We have to invest, ladies. We have to invest. So you're maximizing your income. That's tip number 1. Managing your expenses. That's tip number 2. You are avoiding high interest debt. That's number 4. We're building that emergency fund so we can avoid using credit cards for emergencies. And then the final one is investing. The final one is investing. And how can you invest? In fact, let me ask you, are you investing? Let me know in the comments. Do you invest already? So everything I'm about to share is assuming that you don't invest. Because here's the thing, I'm pretty sure you invest already. Because if you have a 401k, you're investing. That's investing too. Now, you may not have as much control over your brokerage account, over your 401k as you would if you had a brokerage account. But if you're putting money in your 401k, that's investing too. If you don't have access to a 401k, invest in an IRA. An IRA is an individual retirement account. I know a separate video on IRAs for you. But here's the thing. Many people don't think about saving for retirement because they assume they'll do it later and they assume they'll have time. So they don't think about investing in a 401k or IRA as investing. They automatically want to jump to an individual brokerage account in order to say they're investing. 401k and an IRA is investing too. And it's okay to start now. In fact, it's highly recommended that you start now because time is your greatest asset. When you start investing early, or the sooner you start investing, so if you're not investing now, it's not too late. The sooner you start investing, time will help your money work harder so one day you don't have to. Time will help your money compound. So the longer your money is in the market, the more it's going to compound and grow. So if you think of 401ks and IRAs as a retirement account or an account for old people, and you think you got time, you are bypassing your greatest asset, which is time. So start as soon as you can and make time work for you. Another thing that I've heard that people usually have against 401ks and IRAs, many people don't like the idea of investing in retirement accounts because they assume you can't access the money until you're a certain age. Or they say, oh, retirement is too far into the future. I don't want to put my money in there and lock my money up for all those years. I want access to my money right now. Here's the tea. There are ways you can withdraw from your 401k and your IRA before retirement. It's not a loan. And there are ways to do so without penalty. I won't elaborate on that point tonight. Maybe we can discuss that in a future live or a future video. But I will give you a few things that you can withdraw money from your 401k or your IRA for. You can withdraw from it to buy a home. You can withdraw from it to pay for qualified expenses. And in your IRA, you can even withdraw your contributions. There are some qualifying criteria, and I won't get into those details. But my point is, there are ways that you can withdraw from those accounts without penalty before retirement age. So don't think of your 401k and your IRA as like old people accounts or something that you'll never be able to access until some long time in the future. So I don't view my 401k and my IRA as retirement accounts. I consider them life accounts. Life accounts with tax advantages. A regular brokerage account has no tax advantages, but a 401k does. And an IRA does. Well, certain types of IRAs. They do too. And guess what? If I'm building wealth, I want to keep my wealth. I ain't trying to give it to Uncle Sam and pay more taxes. So I leverage the tax advantage accounts first before I start putting overflow into regular brokerage accounts. So your 401k and your IRA are good ways to start investing, and try not to think of them as retirement accounts. They're life accounts. They're life accounts. Start investing in those. How do you start investing in those? You start small. If you aren't investing already, start small. You don't have to invest a whole lot. Same thing I said with your savings account. Whatever amount you have that you're able to put in, do that. And increase slowly over time as you get raises. Remember tip number 1, maximize your income. I suggest you job hop, ladies. So as you get those raises, then you can increase how much you put in there. So if you start with contributing just 1%, that's fine. 1% is better than 0. So if you start by putting in 1%, then you get a raise. Let's say you get a 5% raise because you left that job that was only giving you 2%. Then you can increase your contribution from 1% to 3%. And here's the beauty of contributing to your 401k. Your 401k is pre-tax money. So let's say you increase your contributions by $100 in your 401k. That doesn't mean your bring home pay is going to go down $100 because that contribution was with pre-tax money. That contribution is with pre-tax money. What you bring home is after taxes. So by adding another $100 to your 401k, what you bring home is not going to be $100 less. So it's not a one-to-one when you're contributing to a pre-tax account. Did you know that? Another thing I like about 401ks, if you have access to one, some employers, not all, some employers provide a matching contribution. So that means if you put in some, your employees say, I'm going to put in some. So if you are one of the lucky Americans, and I say lucky because not all employers do this, if you are one of the lucky ones where your employer provides a match, contribute enough to get that match. If the match is up to 5%, contribute at least 5%. Because that 5% match is part of your total compensation package. And by not getting that match, you're basically telling your employer, I don't need your money. We ain't doing that, ladies. We ain't doing that. We want all our money. We want all our money. Simone said her company matches 6%. Yes. So if your company matches 6%, make sure you're contributing at least 6% so you can get the full match. Okay? We ain't leaving free money behind. We ain't telling our employees, no, we don't need your money. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We want all of it. We want every dime. Absolutely. Eleanor said matching sold me. I know that's right. I know that's right. Matching is like getting an immediate 100% return on your money. So if you contribute 6% and your employer gives you 6%, before the market even do what the market does, you immediately got a 100% increase. But if you choose not to contribute 6%, you get nothing. That's your money. You work for it. Get your money, girl. Get your money, girl. Aurora asks, do yours and other Exodus Summit speakers? I switch many of my. Do yours and other Exodus Summit speakers? I switch many of my 457B funds to index funds. I've never been an Exodus Summit speaker, so I'm not sure what you're saying here, but I understand you switch many of your funds to index funds. Okay. Yep. Cool, cool. You say you have 401k invested in S&P 500. Too much horror stories of people struggling at old age. Yeah, so many people think, oh, I can save for retirement later. I have plenty of time, so I'm not going to start until later. And then later comes and you have nothing. Later comes and you have nothing. Don't do that to yourself. You can be saving even a small amount the entire time through your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s. So when you do get to retirement, that compounded growth has compounded all of that time, even with a small amount contributing the minimum to get the match from your employer. That growth, compounding interest is like, I think they call it the eighth wonder of the world because it's magical. Time in the market does most of the work for you. So don't lose your greatest asset, which is time. Don't lose your greatest asset. Greta said she still contributes to her 401k. Good, good, good. And if you are under 50, the maximum you can contribute to a 401k is 22,500. But if you're over 50, you can contribute another 7,500. But I'm not suggesting you contribute the max, unless you can afford to, of course. What I am suggesting is that you contribute what you can and let your first target be contributing enough to get the company match. There's a difference between the match and the max. So if you're just starting, contribute enough to get the match. And if your income is high enough for you to max it out, by all means, do your thing, sis. Do your thing. And for an IRA, the max is 6,500. The max for an IRA is 6,500. But we won't get into the nitty gritty of all of that tonight. Let me check the comments. I appreciate you guys for being here and being engaging in the comments. Let's see. Monica said, yes, this is very helpful. The savings point, great for me to share what I went through. Yes, I'm so glad. We need to normalize these conversations about money. We need to normalize them and we need to share valuable information. We don't need to gatekeep. If you experience something and you learn from it and it helped you and you overcame a financial hardship, share it. Share it with your other sisters. Share it so it can help somebody else so they can avoid the pain that you went through. Right? Share your experiences. Let's normalize these conversations. And this is one of the goals I have for my channel. I want to normalize talking about money so we can overcome shame, so we can stop thinking we're the only ones dealing with something, and so we can stop struggling. Let's get off the struggle bus and learn some ways not only to save, but learn how to invest so we can grow our money. So let's get back to this topic 5. Let me look at my notes to make sure I covered everything. So, I wanted to share. I don't know, can I share my screen? You know what? I ain't going to get all fancy tonight, but I wanted to make a point about compounding interest and how you do not have to invest a whole lot in order for compounding interest to do its thing. So let's say you start with $1,000. If you start with $1,000 and you continue investing, let's say $100 every month, based on the average rate of return in the stock market, which on average, very, very conservative return, 8%. Investing $1,000 and adding another $100 a month based on the average return, as that money compounds over the years, within 10 years, you'll have about $20,000. And all you did was invest $100 a month. That's the beauty of compound interest. So you don't have to start with a lot. You don't have to contribute a lot. But the time in the market and your money compounding and doing the work for you, that's how your money is going to grow. Your money is going to grow faster through investing versus savings. But we need some savings for emergencies because we don't pull money out of our investment account for emergencies. So we need some savings for emergencies. But then once your savings is done, you need to be investing, sis. We need to be investing. Hala Joy is saying, where can we find information about high yield savings account? So I shared that already. So when we are done with this video, you can rewind and watch the replay and see the resources that I shared. Ooh, Simone said her goal is to max out her 401k. I know that's right. Get it, girl. Get it, girl. Venus says she is no longer a W-2 employee, so I don't qualify for any tax advantage accounts. Do you have any earned income, even if it's not from an employer? So you mentioned W-2, so that implies you're a contractor? As long as you have earned income, you still qualify to contribute to an IRA, and the IRA is still a tax advantaged account. So let me know more about your situation. Okay. All righty. So let's see. One more comment. I got too many screens open. No, just a pension. So you no longer work at all, is what you're saying, Venus? So you have no earned income at all, just your pension. Okay, so you're completely retired. Okay, yeah, you're right. If you have no earned income, you're right. You don't have access to a 401k, which is through an employer. And if you have no earned income, you do not qualify to contribute to an IRA anymore. So yes, I agree with you. You're correct. The last thing I wanted to share about investing is this is another link from my website, and this is the link that I actually have saved. I have a new investor starter kit. This is a free PDF. I'm going to share this link in the comments, and this is for new investors only. So if you're already investing, you already know how to invest, you already doing your thing, I high five you, sis. But this starter kit is for new investors only, and it teaches you how to get started with investing, and it teaches you how to avoid the most common mistakes new investors usually make. And I'm not ashamed to say it. Y'all know I'm transparent. I put it out there. They're mistakes that I made. So this is another resource to help you out. And again, this is for new investors only. If you're already an experienced investor, don't even worry about it. But for my new investors, you can get the link at my website, moneycoachmalika.com/start investing. I just dropped it in the comments. And for those watching the replay, I will also put it in the description box for you. And yeah, so I hope this was helpful. Just to recap the 5 tips: maximize your income, manage your expenses by focusing on the heavy hitters, manage your current debt, and avoid high interest debt. Open up that savings account for emergencies so that you're not using a credit card for emergencies. And number 5, start investing. Start investing even if it's in your 401k or your IRA. Those are called retirement accounts. I get it. Even if you have a long time until you retire, consider them life accounts because there are ways to get money out of those accounts before your retirement age. There are limited exceptions, but there are ways you can access the money in those accounts before retirement age. So don't think I have time, I'm nowhere near retirement. They are investment accounts with tax advantages so that you can invest for your life, not for retirement. They're an account with tax advantages to invest for your life. Okay? Oh, you're welcome, Venus. And again, we have to normalize these conversations about money, just like those 5 tips I shared with you. Feel free to share them with other women you know. Share this video with other women you know so she can watch it and learn too, especially if she's a single mom. Especially if she's a single mom. And when you learn and you pay it forward and you improve your finances, reach back and grab another one of us. We have to be our sister's keeper. We cannot hoard information. We cannot gatekeep. As you learn, reach back and pull another sister up with you. Okay? If you enjoyed this video, I hope you gave it a like already. Hit that thumbs up and turn on that notification bell. In my next video, it's not going to be a live, but I'm going to share a pre-recorded video that I did in the series on my channel called Black Women in Wealth Conversations. Again, we need to normalize these conversations. I did an interview with another single mom, and she shared her journey to financial independence. She's still working on it. So I want you to hear from other Black women other than me. I want you to hear other Black women talk about their journey and their path while they're still in it. So my next video, I'm going to share that because I want you to see that it's possible and see other moms, other single moms who are doing it. So if that video topic is of interest to you and you're not already subscribed, what you waiting on, girl? Go and subscribe to my channel and share this video with other single moms that you know so they will have those 5 tips as well. All right. I'm going to check the comments one more time to make sure I answered all of your questions, and then we're going to wrap it up for tonight. You're welcome, Venus. You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, I started some comments earlier. Oh, this is convenient. They're right here. They're right here. Simone asked, hello, how old were you when you retired? I'm in my 40s. I am still in my 40s. I retired last year. And Malaysia asked, why London? Why London? Are you asking why am I in London or why did I choose London? Why I'm in London is because I slow travel. And I just wanted to come to London to experience the culture, to connect with some people that I know here, and just to enjoy myself for the last little bit of semi-warm weather they have. I don't do cold, so I will be leaving here before it starts getting too cold. But I'm here for now, and I will move on when the spirit moves me and tell me to go. All right. I think I answered all of your questions. Let's see. Great having this time. I do share important to assist our ladies. I did not get this in my younger years. Keep it coming. Yes, Monica. Yes, I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. Let's share and let's help our younger sisters out. Yes, yes, absolutely. All right, ladies. Well, that's all I have for you for tonight. Please, please, let's get out of that high interest credit card debt and let's start saving and investing more so we can live what we love. And until next time, bye for now.